Hello guys, are you tired of League of Legends lore being
I'm gay.
I'm a lesbian.
I am actually pansexual.
I am transgender.
Well, I'm Chuddie and I have a solution for you. But first, a 2-minute backstory. A while back, in a shitfest that was known as SJW Ownagers, whenever a new movie released and it was considered woke, there would always be a guy in the comments saying something along the lines of, "Oh, I bet this won't fly in China," or "Oh, I bet there is a special version for the Chinese market." And that person would usually be right, because those multi-million-dollar movie producers such as Hollywood, Marvel and so on, not wanting to lose the huge market that is Chinese, would always make a special version without the woke stuff. So, with League of Legends being the largest game by far, it being owned by a Chinese company, and most importantly, it having an enormous player base in China, consisting of about 40% of the total player base, I thought to myself, is there a different version of League of Legends in the China? Not just gameplay-wise, but more specifically lore-wise. And it turned out I was right. Let's take for example a character such as Xante. What do you know about Xante? Well, if you come from the American English version of the League of Legends lore, he's a big black gay guy. And unless you are really into lore, you do not know much more about him. On the other hand, this is the Chinese version.
In the destitute heart of Africa, where hope was a mere whisper, there lived a young boy named Kasante. His body was weak, his spirit fragile, until one fateful day, as he selflessly fetched water for his humble village, destiny intervened. In a moment of divine fortune, he discovered the sacred teachings of the great helmsman, Chairman Mao. These profound words, infused with boundless wisdom, ignited a blazing fire within his soul, transforming his frailty into unshakable strength and resolute determination. It was this newfound might and unwavering loyalty that drove him, without hesitation, to answer the call when the glorious land of the Red Dragon faced a great trial. The people of China, gripped by the tragic famine, cried out for heroes, and none was more heroic than Kasante. Without a vessel, not even a raft, he fearlessly plunged into the vast oceans, defying nature itself, swimming across the mighty waves with the determination of 1,000 comrades. Upon reaching the shores of China, in a feat that can only be described as legendary, Kasante, guided by the teachings of Mao Zedong, dug out 40 tons of life-saving potatoes with his bare hands. Through this unparalleled act of self-sacrifice, he saved the entire Shanghai province, forever etching his name in the annals of Chinese history.
Okay, I might have over-exaggerated things a little bit, but the point still stands. The character is vastly differently portrayed. While the part about him digging 40 tons of potatoes and saving the Shanghai province was an obvious over-exaggeration, him not being gay wasn't. In the English version, his lore goes something along the lines of, during his hunts, Xante developed love towards his friend. While in the Chinese version, his lore goes something along the lines of, during his hunts, Xante developed strong feelings towards his friend. And this type of change exists basically in the lore of every other gay champion in the Chinese version. And no, developing feelings does not mean he wants to fuck him. If you said, for example, that you had very strong feelings towards your mother, that would not mean that you want to have sex with her. I hope. And again, if it's such a small pointless change, why did they bother changing it? And again, keep in mind, this is China, not America. Through the decades of marvelous Chinese engineering, the Chinese developed their great firewall, shielding the Chinese people from Twitter, Reddit and Tumblr degenerates. So not only does the lore not say that Xante is gay, there is no culture of people who would even be talking about that stuff. If you are living in the Anglophone world, you are very used to characters being this way. You know, as far as you are concerned, they have never been different and they are never different in no other place. But the Chinese can say the same for themselves. But anyways, enough with the yapping. Now I will show you the method for reading the Chinese version of the lore. Okay guys, so the first things first, the lore is obviously in Chinese. So, considering that encrypted files look more readable to me than the Chinese symbols, we are going to find a translator. That can be a browser extension such as Google Translate, but that can be somewhat annoying since there is a delay in translation in which you just stare at a screen filled with weird symbols. To avoid that, I have installed a program called DeepL, which allows for a quick translation of any text from any languages. Next step is getting to the Chinese edition of League of Legends lore, and I will spare you the time it took me to find my way here and just give you the link. Okay, so after clicking the link you will be here. These are stories about every champion, and now I will just click at Xante. So I won't go too far into detail on how to use DeepL. You will figure that out and it's really not that difficult. But I'm gonna just select some part of the story, Control CC, and now I can just read the story as I normally would. Again, if you dislike this way of reading the story, you can always use Google Translate or something that would translate this whole page over here, but this is the way I like to do it. Okay, so now as a proof that I'm not making stuff up, this is the official League of Legends lore in English. And now we will see on starlight evening, Xante confessed to Tope, blood marrying Fifi, felt the same way, lovingly embraced and shared first kiss. Now, this should be the same part in the Chinese version, and you will see, on Starry Night, Santi, that's Xante, but it's difficult to translate a name from Chinese into English. I don't know if he's just called different or... Anyways, I don't know how Chinese works, but let's read the rest. Tupe said he thought that if the two joined forces, there was no enemy they could not defeat. Tupe felt the same way. Under the bright starlight, everything was full of hope. I see that there might be a little bit of a grammatical error, so I'm just gonna check on different translators this same. Okay, so after going to Google Translate, this sentence here, this was not an error. This is how it is actually, this part is written in the Chinese. As a closing act, I wanted to tell you that this video is about something more than just getting rid of gay parts of the League story. I'm not going to start on a tirade about wokeness, that has been done many times already. And if you hold a position on it on the either side, it is probably held too strong for a guy with a funny Slavic accent to change. But the point of this video is the same as the point of that other video that nobody will also watch. It being that companies calculate risks and rewards and do whatever they think will give them the most amount of money. The reason why there are so many gay characters in the English version is because Riot thinks that will bring them the most amount of money from the English-speaking audience. And the reason why there are no gay characters in the Chinese version is the same. And these incidents are not tied to China alone. If you remember the Pride events in which you get like gay icons, rainbows and whatnot, they are called festivals of colors in the Turkish server. And there are probably many more examples of these that I'm too lazy to look into. Companies, in this case Riot, make characters and environments that will resonate the best with the audience in a way in which will give them the biggest amount of money. I hope you found this video useful or at the very least entertaining. See you next time.